My father almost died because of a glass of orange juice. Let me say that again. My father, a 73-year-old man with normal blood pressure, normal cholesterol, and a clean bill of health from his annual physical, nearly lost his life to something he did every single morning for 40 years. He woke up, he poured himself a glass of orange juice, he ate his toast, and he went about his day. And one morning, that routine nearly killed him. I am a cardiologist. I have spent my entire career studying the heart, understanding its rhythms, and protecting patients from the very thing that nearly took my own father. I have guided thousands of people through heart attacks, through bypass surgeries, through the terror of sudden cardiac events. I know the signs, I know the risk factors, and I still missed it. I looked at my father's numbers, his blood pressure, his cholesterol, his weight, and I saw a healthy man. I did not see the bomb ticking in his morning routine, but the bomb was there, and it went off on a Tuesday morning while he was getting out of bed. He did not have chest pain beforehand. He did not feel short of breath. He did not have any of the classic warning signs that I had spent my career teaching patients to recognize. He simply stood up, and his heart stopped following the rhythm it had kept for 73 years. No warning, no time to prepare, just collapse. I was at the hospital when they brought him in. I remember standing in the hallway, watching the trauma team work on him, watching the monitor, and feeling a kind of helplessness that I had never experienced before. This was not a patient. This was my father. And I, a cardiologist, did not see this coming. That moment shattered every assumption I had about heart health. It forced me to look past the textbook numbers, past the standard checklists, and into the quiet, overlooked hours of the morning. And what I found was a truth I wish I had learned years earlier. A truth that could have prevented everything. Here is what I discovered. There is a hidden danger that wakes up with you every single day. It begins long before you check your phone, before you pour your coffee, before you even open your eyes. And it is responsible for more morning cardiovascular events than almost anyone realizes. I am talking about the surge of cortisol, adrenaline, and blood pressure that your body naturally releases as it shifts from sleep to wakefulness. This is called your blood pressure morning surge, and it is entirely normal. It is your body preparing itself for the day. But in certain people, and far more people than we used to think, this surge is not just a gentle nudge. It is a tidal wave, and that wave can break a vessel that was already under strain. The research is staggering. The risk of heart attack is roughly 40% higher in the morning hours. The risk of stroke is elevated by nearly 50%. These are not statistical quirks. This is your body's natural waking response interacting with underlying vulnerability. And the vulnerability is almost always there, even when your clinic blood pressure looks perfect. Here is the mistake I made. I looked at my father's average blood pressure, the number recorded in the clinic at 10 a.m., and I assumed it reflected his true risk. But the heart does not experience average risk. It experiences moment-to-moment risk. And the most dangerous moment of the day for many people is the first hour after waking. My father's morning blood pressure, the number we never measured, was significantly higher than his clinic reading, and I never checked it. I never thought to check it, and that oversight nearly cost him his life. Now let me show you exactly what happened and how we fixed it. Because if I can save my father, I can help you protect yourself and the people you love. And it starts with understanding what is happening in your body during those first critical minutes after waking. When you sleep, your body enters a state of rest and repair. Your heart rate slows, your blood pressure drops, and your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest system, takes over. Then, as morning approaches, your brain begins preparing you to wake. It signals your adrenal glands to release a surge of cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones increase your heart rate, narrow your blood vessels, and push your blood pressure higher. This is called the morning surge, and it is supposed to help you get up and move. But if your blood vessels are stiff, if you have plaque buildup in your arteries, or if you're even mildly dehydrated, that sudden increase in pressure can be enough to crack a plaque, trigger a clot, and block blood flow to the heart or brain. That is exactly what happened to my father. He had plaque buildup that we did not know about, because he had never had a cardiac CT scan, and his stress tests had always been normal. His morning surge hit that plaque. It ruptured, a clot formed, and his heart stopped getting blood. It happened in seconds. It happened without warning, and it happened because of a routine he had followed for decades. Now I want you to think about your own morning routine. What is the very first thing you do when you wake up? Do you roll over and check your phone? Do you turn on the television? Do you immediately start thinking about the stress of the day ahead? If you do, you are making the morning surge worse. You are adding cognitive stress on top of physiological stress. The phone, the news, the emails, they all flood your system with more cortisol. They spike your blood pressure even higher. They make the surge more dangerous. My father used to wake up and immediately turn on the news. The first sounds of his day were headlines about politics, crime, and disaster. And he would lie there in bed, his heart rate already climbing from the wake response. And he would add stress on top of stress. I cannot prove that this contributed to his event, but I can tell you that the research on stress and cardiovascular events is overwhelming. The sudden release of stress hormones spikes blood pressure, increases platelet stickiness, which promotes clotting, and raises the risk of plaque rupture. But the biggest mistake, the one that nearly killed my father, was what he ate. He drank orange juice every morning. He thought he was being healthy. He thought the vitamin C was good for him. But what he did not realize was that orange juice is liquid sugar. It spikes blood glucose rapidly, which triggers an insulin surge, which causes blood vessels to constrict further. On top of the natural morning surge, he was adding a sugar spike that made his blood vessels clamp down even harder. That combination, the morning surge plus the sugar spike, created a perfect storm. His blood pressure shot up, his vessels constricted, his blood thickened, and the plaque ruptured. I want to pause here because this is the most important part of this entire video. The glass of orange juice did not cause the heart attack by itself. The heart attack was caused by years of plaque buildup. But the orange juice was the trigger. It was the match that lit the fire. And that is the part that most people miss. You can have plaque buildup for decades and never have a problem. But one morning, one moment of extreme physiological stress, and that plaque ruptures. The morning surge plus the sugar spike plus dehydration is a combination that has killed millions of people, and it is almost entirely preventable. So what do? You change your morning routine, and I'm going to show you exactly how my father changed his, and how his numbers came down from dangerous to perfectly normal in just a matter of weeks. The first change was hydration. When you sleep, you lose fluid through breathing and sweating. You become mildly dehydrated. Dehydration reduces blood volume. Your blood becomes thicker and more viscous, and your heart has to work harder to pump it. Then you wake. Your blood vessels constrict from the morning surge, and your blood is thicker than it should be. That combination is a recipe for a clot. The research is clear. Even mild dehydration, the kind you experience every single night, can significantly increase morning blood pressure and morning heart rate. Drinking 16 to 20 ounces of water first thing in the morning thins your blood, eases the pressure on your blood vessels, and lowers the morning surge by an average of 5 to 7 points on the systolic. The top number, within 30 minutes. My father now drinks 2 glasses of water before he touches his coffee or any food, and his numbers reflect it. The second change was breakfast. He stopped the orange juice. He stopped the toast. And he started eating eggs, half an avocado, and a handful of spinach. The protein and healthy fat stabilized his blood sugar. The spinach provided dietary nitrates, which his body converted to nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a vasodilator, a compound that relaxes blood vessels and allows them to expand to accommodate the increased blood flow. When you wake, your body naturally produces less nitric oxide, which contributes to the vessel constriction. Eating nitrate-rich greens with your breakfast measurably improves vascular function within hours. My father's morning blood pressure dropped another 10 points just from this one change. The third change was stress. He stopped turning on the news. He stopped looking at his phone. He now gives himself 20 minutes of quiet before he lets the world in. He sits in his chair, he drinks his water, he eats his breakfast, and he breathes. That is it. No emails, no news, no social media. Just quiet. And that single change lowered his morning surge by another 5 to 7 points. The fourth change, and this one is critical, was medication timing. My father was not on blood pressure medication before his heart attack. He is now, but what I learned from his recovery was that the timing of medication matters enormously. Many blood pressure medications taken at night wear off by morning. Many taken in the morning do not peak early enough. We worked with his cardiologist to time his medication so that it peaked exactly during the morning surge. That is the treatment gap I mentioned earlier, and it is one of the most common reasons people have breakthrough morning events even though their daytime readings are fine. Bring your home morning readings to your doctor. Bring them in on paper, and if they do not ask you about it, you ask them. Here is the thing about my father's recovery. He did not become a different person. He did not adopt a radically restrictive lifestyle. He made small targeted changes to the most dangerous hour of his day, and those changes saved his life. His morning blood pressure went from 165 over 95 to a 125 over 78. His fasting blood sugar went from pre-diabetic to normal. His energy improved. His mood improved. And he has not had another scare in 2 years. I tell you this because I want you to understand that you are not powerless. You are not at the mercy of your genetics or your age or your family history. You have more control than you think. And it starts with the first hour of your day. So here is what I want you to do starting tomorrow. You do not need to change everything at once. You just need to change the first hour. When you wake, sit up slowly. Breathe deeply for 3 breaths. Do not reach for your phone. Drink 16 ounces of water. Room temperature is best because it absorbs faster. Wait 10 minutes before you have coffee. And if you can, delay any source of stress, news, email, social media, until you have eaten and hydrated. Then, have a breakfast that includes protein, healthy fat, and a handful of greens. 2 eggs, half an avocado, and a handful of arugula. Or overnight oats with chia seeds and a handful of blueberries. Or a smoothie with spinach, beets, berries, and a tablespoon of chia seeds. That breakfast is not just fuel, it is a vascular buffer. It is giving your blood vessels the nitric oxide, the magnesium, and the hydration they need to handle that morning surge safely. If you are on blood pressure medication, take your reading before you take your medication. Write it down, share it with your doctor, and ask them if your medication timing is optimal for covering that dangerous first hour. This conversation is one of the most impactful you can have. It is not about big dramatic changes. It is about the small quiet habits that protect you in the most vulnerable moment of your day. My father is proof of that. He is now 76 years old. He walks 3 miles every afternoon, and his morning blood pressure has been stable for 2 years. He has not had another scare, and he no longer wakes up and turns on the news. He sits in his chair, he drinks his water, he eats his greens, and he gives himself 20 minutes before he lets the world in. It is a simple change. It saved his life, and I want it to save yours. If you or someone you love is waking up with high numbers, or if you have a family history of heart disease, or if you simply want to protect your cardiovascular health as you age, please take this seriously. Do not wait for a warning sign. My father had none. The heart does not always warn you. It simply stops following the rhythm. But you can protect it. You can give it what it needs in that first hour. And you can start that protection tonight by hydrating before bed, by setting your alarm for just a few minutes earlier, and by committing to a morning routine that puts safety first. Let me leave you with this thought. You cannot control your genetics. You cannot control every stress in your life, but you can control the first hour of your day. And that hour has more power over your cardiovascular health than almost any other hour you will live. Guard it, protect it, and never assume you are safe just because you look healthy on paper. My father looked healthy on paper, and it nearly cost us everything. If you want more videos that help you understand the hidden dangers in your daily routine and how to fix them, hit subscribe, give this a like, and leave me a comment telling me what your morning blood pressure was this week. I read them, and your numbers genuinely shape what I cover next. And if you know someone who drinks orange juice every morning, send them this video. It might save their life.